Sometimes it feels perfectly natural for your favorite characters from different franchises to hang out.
Oh my God, Morty, what did you do? You killed the Simpsons, Morty!
Like when Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny teamed up to murder Bob Hoskins. Other times, two completely incongruous characters are suddenly revealed to share a universe, and all hell breaks loose. That's the stuff I'm interested in. The bonkers, the embarrassing, the unbelievable bits of canon that only exist because some coked up marketing exec needed to sell more Nikes. I'm talking the Ninja Turtles and the Transformers solving an X-File, the dudes from Kiss kicking it with Marvel's perverted talking duck, and the Riverdale gang getting slaughtered by the Predator.
Have you ever seen me without this stupid hat on? That's weird. I'm a weirdo.
This
is CanonBall. Dr. Jordan breeding, you son of a bitch!
For some nerds, the sight of 2 or more superheroes working together is as exciting as the sight of 2 or more adult film actresses working together. That's why you'll sometimes see publishers take one kind of popular character and just jam them into an unfamiliar setting in a cynical attempt to get more eyeballs on their stuff. It's often ham-fisted and distracting, but it is, for better or worse, canon. For example, number 4, Archie meets and gets murdered by the Predator. In the comics, the Predator franchise has crossed over with everyone from Batman to Superman to the aliens to Batman and Superman and the aliens, because there's no law that says a comic book can't make unlimited amounts of money. But after pitting the Predators against worthy opponents like Judge Dredd, Tarzan, Batman again, and Batman again, by 2015, the folks at Dark Horse Comics decided to give everyone's favorite dreadlocks-wearing space murderers a break and let them hunt someone a little less challenging. And that's how they settled on these guys.
You are my candy girl, and you got me.
Yep. Archie vs. Predator is a real, officially sanctioned comic, and it goes about as well for Archie and his pals as you'd realistically expect. The story starts with Jughead winning a tropical vacation for his entire group of friends from a lucky bag of potato chips. Distraught after seeing Archie making out with Veronica at the beach, Betty runs into the jungle and finds an ominous temple, where she wishes vengeance upon her friends using a magic knife.
I didn't want you to get hurt, Archie.
Now this is already weirder than 90% of Archie comics.
I'm weird.
And 100% of Predator ones, and we haven't even gotten to the gore yet.
Why don't you join the gang in the school library during study period?
Oh, there's the gore. A Predator has been stalking the Riverdale teens in the jungle, and he gruesomely murders Cheryl and Jason Blossom, as if he already knew how creepy their live-action CW versions would be. Next, he follows the gang back to Riverdale and pops head right in front of them, covering everyone in chocolate, which doesn't seem to affect Jughead's appetite all that much. Betty is worried that her little knife ritual might have something to do with all the murders, so she and Veronica visit Sabrina the Teenage Witch to see if she can break the curse. But it's kinda hard to perform magic spells when a predator has ripped out your spine. No friend of Archie's is safe from the slaughter, not even the token gay, token black, and token douchebag ones. Even Jughead gets his head stuffed in a vending machine, which is kinda beautiful, since that's probably how he always wished to be buried. The final issue has more bizarre twists than an entire season of Twin Peaks. Archie gets fatally stabbed, but Betty and Veronica use a healing machine to transform him into a Schwarzenegger-sized version of himself, which still isn't enough to prevent the Predator from cutting Betty's arm off and making Archie's head turn even redder than usual. Red as in blood. It explodes. In the end, it turns out the Predator was in love with Betty and Veronica, so they stab him with the magic knife while he's distracted by their beauty. The real question now is, how will the girls learn to live without Archie after 80 years of chronic codependence? And the answer is, they won't have to. They use the healing machine to reshape the remnants of the lovesick Predator into Archie form. The end. Back to normal, everyone. Oh, except most of the town is dead, but, you know, details. The important thing is, one franchise's senseless brutality was cheaply imported into a different, more serene franchise.
Me, Daddy, you son of a bitch! Please.
Mission accomplished. Maybe Archie would have fared better if he'd recruited his old pal, the Punisher. Yeah, that's also a real comic that exists, but we shouldn't be too surprised given that Archie isn't the only famous recording artist the Punisher has run into. Number 3, Eminem makes a chump out of the Punisher. Unlike other celebrity comic book cameos, like when Ayatollah Khomeini teamed up with the Joker, or the time an undead Princess Diana almost joined an X-Men spin-off. This one was created with the guest star's full approval and collaboration. I'm taking this to mean that Eminem doesn't care much for his bodyguards, because this 2009 comic starts with the Punisher slaughtering all of them.
That was my bad. Force a habit.
But the downside of having Eminem's approval is that you also get a crap ton of Eminem's suggestions.
Call me.
Which explains why the story tries so hard to make him look like a badass. When Punisher starts shooting, Eminem just happens to be carrying a Glock. And then we learn that he's good buddies with one of the Punisher's rival hitmen, a degenerate mass murderer called Barracuda. Apparently, in this universe, Eminem goes around busting caps every day between playing at the Oscars and going on Jimmy Kimmel. Later, M easily beats the crap out of the Punisher with the butt of a gun, while rapping, apparently. It's always kind of pathetic seeing someone try on a new catchphrase. Then he straight up shoots the Punisher in the chest while he's lying on the floor. And I'm assuming he would have also taken a leak on his body if Barracuda hadn't interrupted him. But twist, Barracuda was hired by the Parents Music Council to murder Eminem, and the Punisher was only there to save him. Whoops! Barracuda shoots Eminem at almost point blank, but obviously this 11-time Teen Choice Awards winner was wearing a bulletproof vest. Oh, and so is the Punisher. So Barracuda chains them up together and takes them on a boat to drown them, instead of, I don't know, shooting them in their faces. He is a bad hitman. Eminem escapes his chains, of course, and at this point, you can practically hear the writer's head smashing against the keyboard as he tries to figure out how to incorporate some of that signature Eminem revenge porn into the story. And so they did. The comic ends with the Punisher and Eminem clearing up the misunderstanding and parting on more or less friendly terms. Eminem gets off the boat and continues to walk on the frozen water while the Punisher sails away on the inexplicably unfrozen water.
Don't know how all this happened. Maybe I never will.
And everyone lived happily ever after. Except Barracuda. And the dead bodyguards. And every single member of the Parents Music Council, evidently. But hey, at least Eminem didn't insist on giving himself superpowers. Unlike number 2. Kiss meets Howard the Duck and fights Dr. Doom. Back in the 70s, Marvel Comics was more desperate for celebrity guest stars than a third-shift late-night talk show, which is why there are comics about Daredevil meeting Uri Geller, the Hulk hanging out with writer Tom Wolfe, and Spider-Man teaming up with the original cast of Saturday Night Live, which means Spidey has definitely done coke with Bill Murray once or twice. Most of these cameos aren't terribly exciting or good, but there was one opportunity Marvel couldn't possibly mess up.
This was about to get very weird.
Gene Simmons of Kiss is a massive fan, and he and his bandmates are pretty much comic book characters already. It wouldn't be that much of a stretch to see Kiss fighting side to side with the X-Men, or Iron Man, or Ghost Rider. So of course, Marvel teamed them up with Howard the Duck.
Howard, you really are the worst.
For those who don't know, before Howard the Duck was George Lucas's third or fourth most embarrassing movie, it was a Marvel comic starring the same degenerate, human-phile, anthropomorphic duck. And who better to introduce a popular rock band into the Marvel universe? And so, in 1977's Howard the Duck number 12, Howard sees Kiss materializing out of a woman's head. They hang around for a couple more pages, just long enough to qualify as a guest appearance, then get sucked back into the woman's brain again with no explanation. Somehow, that inexplicable cameo sold pretty well, so Marvel and Kiss followed it up with an oversized comic that was printed with the band's own blood. That's not a joke. They got their blood drawn and mixed it with the ink used to print the comic in front of Stan Lee and a public notary. Everyone who bought that issue is now dead of syphilis, probably. Which is better than dying of cholera after going down on a duck, I guess. The comic story follows the members of Kiss who, as 4 regular teenagers, get superpowers from a blind, homeless man in a furry thong. Kiss liked their hobo-granted powers so much that they used the same ones in the horrible movie they made about a year later. Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. Gene Simmons can breathe fire. Paul Stanley can shoot eye lasers. Ace Frehley can teleport. And Peter Criss can jump. Back to the comic. The villain is the Fantastic Four's nemesis, Dr. Doom, because Marvel just didn't care enough to make up a new bad guy.
Yeah, what kind of lazy-ass company just shoehorns in an evil doctor into an existing property in the hopes of boosting views?
How many LaCroix have you had?
My tummy hurts.
Yeah, anyway. After fighting lady robots, visiting hell, and dancing with alien cat people, the band has a climactic encounter with Doom himself, which ends when they physically remind him of his dead parents, and he's just too sad to keep fighting. Kiss's Marvel Comics career didn't last long, but they're still churning out comics, where they meet everyone from Ash from Evil Dead to our pal Archie, because they have no shame. Too bad they weren't invited to the biggest, most incongruous comic book crossover orgy ever. Number 1, The X-Files, Ghostbusters, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers, and The Crow try to prevent a future pandemic in 2014. In 2013, X-Files creator Chris Carter announced an official comic book continuation of the show, allowing fans to imagine how completely awesome and totally not awkward and terrible it would be if the show ever got a new season. Can you imagine if that happened? One of the tie-ins to the comic was a crossover event involving the Ghostbusters, the Ninja Turtles, the Transformers, and the Crow, properties that were clearly chosen due to their affinity with the X-Files, and not because the same publisher happened to own their license. But I'm guessing there was at least one other factor involved in the decision to combine all these franchises.
Drugs, bud.
2014's The X-Files Conspiracy Number 1 starts with Agent Mulder's paranoid pals, the Lone Gunmen, getting an email from the future warning them that some sort of virus is about to hit the human race pretty hard. Can you imagine if that happened?
No, it's not true.
In order to stop the virus, the gunmen must investigate a bunch of weird tabloid stories, like sightings of humanoid turtles or talking cars from outer space. These aren't, like, realistic stand-ins for the Turtles or the Transformers, like the time a non-yellow Homer Simpson showed up in an X-Files episode.
Wake up, Homer.
Nope, they're the real deal in all their wacky Saturday morning cartoon glory. In the chapter with the Ninja Turtles, Mulder doesn't seem fazed while helping 4 cowabunging reptile people defeat a gang of pizza-obsessed vampires, while the lone gunmen adjust pretty quickly to the concept of giant alien robots shaped like cars. In the Ghostbusters one, they even meet Slimer, actual proof that there is an afterlife, but they basically shrug him off. In the end, Scully creates a vaccine by combining Leonardo's blood with the oil of a transformer. And instead of turning you into a giant turtle shell with wheels,
The wacky attack band means good times for the green guys.
or a corpse, this somehow cures the virus. Oh, and the gunmen find out that they're the ones who sent the future email that started everything. This creates a paradox that erases the event from history. Very original. A last-minute plot twist that negates the whole episode. Anyway,
Hey,
we hope
Jesse, wake up. Jesse, wake
What?
up.
Hey, Jesse, wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah,
What's that?
Wake up. Wake up.
What's going on?
Jesse, wake up.
What?
Wake up! I need to take a dump!
What?
I need to take shit! What happened? Yeah, I macrodosed you on placebos. You've been tripping for 2 episodes.
But Michelangelo said I'm excellent, just the way I are, without drugs.
Yeah, okay, the creation of Adam was made without drugs.
Great. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of CanonBall. Now, you may be wondering how we filmed those scenes where I interact with Jordan. I filmed my parts in front of a green screen, while Jordan was actually filmed many miles away. I was never in harm's way for a moment. Isn't technology wonderful?